This is Arts Weekly.
Arts Weekly is produced in cooperation with the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design.
Welcome to Arts Weekly. I'm Melinda Haines with the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. On today's show, you'll learn about some of the area's best-kept musical secrets. In the second half of the show, I'll be joined by Marcy Trenicosti, a professional musician and music educator, to talk about the Fort Wayne Philharmonic's Youth Concert Orchestra and the Community Arts Academy's Summer String Camp. But first, I'd like to welcome back Joel Froomkin and Rich Najuch from the Huntington Supper Club. In 2007, Joel and Rich moved from Manhattan to Huntington with the aim of revitalizing a former vaudeville house and movie palace. They spent their initial efforts renovating the lobby into an event space before embarking upon further work in the auditorium itself. They aim to open a fully professional musical theater house in the next 2 years, bringing a company of actors for a 7-show season each year. The idea for the Supper Club came about due to overwhelming public interest in the renovation and to begin to bring the building back to life. The shows have proved to be a great success and have entertained more than 15,000 patrons since the first season. The Supper Club is an intimate 72-seat cabaret venue located in downtown Huntington, Indiana, just south of Fort Wayne. Joel and Rich, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us. It's so nice to see you.
Well, you know, welcome back. I mean, I'm excited to have you back because the last time you were on the show, we talked about your holiday show, and I was privileged to be able to see that. And so I'm wondering if you can give me kind of an update and what you've been up to since then.
Sure. Well, the holiday show finished up in December, and then in the winter months, we don't generally schedule shows. We take those times to do renovation work. So this winter, we worked in the main auditorium of the theater. We're building new walls in there and a new stage and new seating platforms and everything. We finished up all of the wall structure and some backstage structure as well. And just a couple weeks ago, we had our inspection and approval to move forward again to the next step and start drywalling and finishing off the space now. So the framing is all done, and now we're moving on to finish work.
That is really a long process, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when I mean, it's him and like 2 friends that are volunteers, like lifting 32-foot metal studs up into the wall.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny.
Just a few people helping out with it. So when we don't know what we're doing. So.
Yeah. Well, I think the progress you're making is just wonderful. That is so fun to see. And I think one of the other exciting things is that you've opened a restaurant. Right. What is it next
this
door?
week.
This week.
It's been
last
a
week.
It was last Tuesday, so it's been just a week. So it's right next door. It's actually a building that was part of the theater originally when it opened in 1904, and then it split off in the 40s.
Okay.
But now it's back. We own it again. It's all part of the same building again, and it's an Italian restaurant. It's a small 44-seat little bistro, and we themed it after. It's a theater-themed restaurant with Italian food. We really love Italian food, and of course, you know, a lot of people go and have Italian food when they go see shows in New York. There's a lot of great Italian restaurants right around in there.
And there really wasn't one in the county.
No,
there's
there wasn't
great
one
pizza
in the
places,
area.
but there was no sort of pasta, real Italian restaurant in the area, and so we wanted to fill that niche.
And we have a great chef named Jim Hauser, who's from the Fort Wayne Country Club and from Parkview Catering, and he wanted to open a space and came to us and asked about it, and we worked together on it. And it's decorated like a theater, backstage at a theater.
Oh, fun.
We have some theatrical flats and stage lights and pipes and hanging things and that sort of thing to make the space kind of theatrical.
Now, is he also your chef for the Supper Club?
Yes.
Oh, so this gives him a little chance to branch out because you don't just serve Italian
Oh,
dishes
no.
all the time in the
Yeah.
Supper Club. So this is
No, there's
a
the
little
full
bit.
regular catering menu as well, and then full show menu for the shows as well.
And what's the name of the restaurant?
It's called The Eatery.
Okay, the eatery, and it just right next door.
In spelling, we thought it was a brilliant idea, which was theater and then eatery and then smushed together.
Yeah.
And then for the next 6 months, we've argued about how to pronounce it. But
Yeah,
so it's
well, when I saw the
eatery.
logo, I'm like, that's very clever.
Yeah,
So
how do you
can see
say
the
it?
theater in there. Well, that is.
And of course, in the Midwest, some people say theater, so theatery just sounds
Theatery.
not quite as effective. But whatever.
Well, good
Just
luck
eat
with
there.
that.
It doesn't matter how you say it.
Yeah. So you've got now this restaurant in your space, so that's a new thing. You're coming along in the auditorium, but you have a big summer summer season? You know, tell me about what's coming up.
We have 3 summer shows that we do eventually as the summer goes on, they're done in repertory. And we bring in, we audition over 700 people for 4 parts.
Well over 700 people.
And in New York, we go to New York, we audition them, and then once we've chosen the talent, we then cater the songs in each show specifically to them.
What their strengths are.
Yeah, and this summer we had decided we were going to do the music of Neil Diamond, focus on his songwriting, which is amazing. His writing is very poetic. The lyrics are very personal and introspective. They're like really meaty they're monologues. They really are. We're doing a war show that is very much skewed to the baby boomer. There's a little bit of sort of, Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, Bette Midler version, but it's a lot of Bob Dylan, Creedence Clearwater, Mamas and the Papas, and that's because the baby boomers, have really become our core audience. And then we're doing an 80s show because people were begging us to do one since we started.
For the last 4 years,
the Cougars have demanded.
Yeah.
The Cougars have demanded an 80s show, so they're finally getting that. So those are the 3 things we're biting off and trying to put together this summer.
So what happens in these shows? Is the first one the Neil Diamond?
Yes.
So people come to the show, they don't really maybe know what to expect if they haven't been there before. They walk into your theater lobby.
Well, I mean, I can tell. I'll tell the basics of it, and then we're going to ask you.
Okay.
So each night we have a show. We open the doors at 5:30, and then there's an hour between 5:30 and 6:30 where people can just socialize and have a drink or whatnot, and we have a full bar that people can come and sit with their friends and that. And then at 6:30 we have dinner, and then at 7:30 after dinner the show starts, and it's a full 2-hour show, and it all finishes up around 9:45 to 10 o'clock. Each show has 22 to 24 songs in it, and then the narration that Joel does where he tells stories about the songs and kind of weaves it all together a bit.
Well, and that's what makes it so fascinating, how it's all pulled together. It's not just song after song. And, walking into the lobby, I mean, boom, there you are. And there's, 72 doesn't sound like a huge number, but it's the right number for that space. And everyone sits so close to the stage, so it is such a intimate performance.
Everyone's within 15 feet of the stage.
Wow. I mean, that was fascinating to be so close to the, real talent.
And
just,
for the performers,
and
the audience is their scene partner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's seeing the whites of their eyes and really relating to them and figuring out as an actor what they want from the audience. But yeah, it's a very unique situation, and the first time that actors get up there and there's an audience, they feel like they're in a 3D movie.
It would be unusual for them too,
absolutely.
not just for the audience.
And then they grow to really love it because it's such a personal relationship.
Yeah, I think you really do kind of develop that. You can look at them and they sing to you, and then they sing to your person next to you, and you do feel a part of it. You might see those little not scene changes, but little part changes. Yeah. It's like, oh, now I know how that works. That's so cool. So with the Neil Diamond one that's coming up, how do you narrate through that, or in any of these? How do you determine that?
It's interesting you said that. The Neil Diamond show is the hardest because we want it to have a sort of a narrative sweep of his life. So that affects how I research each song and try and put the song in a context of a milestone in his life, which luckily, because he writes in a very autobiographical way, is pretty easy to do. But in terms of what the formats have taken on, it's funny to be on PBS because we describe it to people as if Ken Burns was sort of collaborating with American Songbook and then doing it as a cruise ship show. Yeah. It's sort of, you get this dramaturgical, historical, fun tidbit information, and then you get the song.
And it makes the song so much more meaningful to have a little bit of history. And I bet for the 80s show and the war show, you learn a little of the history along with the show, or along with the song that, I certainly didn't know a lot of that history between those tidbits are interesting.
Right, yeah, and it takes me a solid month sequestered to do the research, and then about a month to actually assemble the research into the narrative form. big undertaking.
Well, and it's great for trivia buffs too, because we have the free drink questions,
right?
or
Yeah,
free
so
gift,
people,
gift card
get
questions.
to
People can
answer the questions and see if
we
they
ask us, see if they a little Jeopardy for them. And see
bet
if they
somebody
might know.
always does. So when are the shows starting?
We start this summer, June 20th, with the
it's
Neil
coming up.
Diamond Show. So it's coming up in just a couple of weeks. And then that one runs for several weekends. And then in July, we interweave in the War Show. And at the end of July, we interweave in the 80s Show. And those first 3 weeks in August, all three of them run in rotation then.
Wow.
So,
And are you every night or?
until we're generally weekends until we hit August, and then it's Monday through Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everything, the whole schedule is on the website at
Okay.
huntingtonsupperclub.com.
Okay.
And everything's all, each show has a list of the dates that it is, that they're there on that. And it's kind of strange because of the way we rehearse the shows and learn the shows. There are nights that we don't have shows
Right.
Until we learn them all, and all three of them then get put together, and then we run every night.
And it's HuntingtonSupperClub.com, right?
HuntingtonSupperClub.com.
Okay, they can purchase tickets there
Absolutely.
as well. That rehearsal process must be crazy for the actors too. Just
It's a lot.
to-
72 songs to hold in your brain in rotation with basically stools and mic stands as your total world.
Right.
It's tough to keep it all in the database.
Wow, wow. That is going to be such a fun season. I am sure that everybody is going to enjoy that very much. So, again, it is HuntingtonSupperClub.com, and people can call too for
They
tickets.
can call too. The phone number, the box office phone number is 260-454-0603.
Okay.
And that's open weekdays from 1 to 4.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys so
Thank
much
you.
for
It's so
being
nice to
here
see you.
today. While we get ready for our next segment, please take a minute to view our performance calendar of what's coming up in our area. You also can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll be right back with Marcy Trenikoski from the Fort Wayne Philharmonic Youth Concert Orchestra.